Welcome back to Low Stress Math with Mrs. Bono. We are in Chapter 4, Systems of Linear Equations, Lesson 2, not independent practice. What am I talking about? Graphing systems of linear equations, learning to read. All right, so step 1. Both equations are in the same coordinate plane. What does that mean? It means you have the same variables. In this case, the variables we have are y and x, but it could be other variables. It could be m and n, it could be a and b, as long as it's the same variables in both equations. So, identify the y-intercept and the slope. Okay, so I'm gonna graph this in two different colors to make it a little easier to see. But first, let me get a highlighter, because I like to highlight the y. So I know where to start. I start on that highlighted y. And I start at the back with the b. And for the top one, b is -4. And to get more points, I use the m, which is 3/1. So I'm going to go up 3, 1 to the right. Remember, above this, I'm going to write it. Y equals mx plus b. B is the beginning, m is to get more points. Now for the second one, I'm going to begin at 1, because that's the 1. And to get more points, I have -2/1. Negative means I have to go down and to the right. So let's start with this first one. I begin at -4, and then I'm going to go up 3, 1 to the right, up 3, 1 to the right, all the way across the entire grid. The reason I want to do that is because I don't know where these lines are going to cross. They might cross up here, they might cross down here. I have to cover the entire grid so that I know I can see where they cross. So all the way across the grid, arrow on both sides, and now I have to label the equation with their, label both equations with their, label both graphs with their respective equations. So this first one is y equals 3x minus 4. Now I have to do the other one, and that begins at +1, b is 1, and I'm going to go down 2, 1 to the right. Down 2, 1. Well, that was luck. Let me finish this graph anyhow, make it look nice at least. Sometimes it's not easy. Probably should have a see-through ruler. That does make it a little better. All right, here we go. And this, I've got to label this one too. Y equals -2x plus 1. And now the important part. Where do they cross? Well, they cross at this point here. But how do I label that? Well, first I'm going to highlight this, not highlight, I'm going to white this part out. So when I write the answer, it's easy to see. But let's make this nice and big so you can see what I'm talking about. You always start at 0, 0. This is the x direction. So the first coordinate in a coordinate pair is the x. So I have to go 1 to the right and 1 down to get to the point where they cross. So 1 to the right is +1, 1 down is -1. So my solution to this system is +1, -1. Now, down here, it says solution, and I'm going to write it again, +1, -1 with a nice comma. And there's only one solution because they only cross once. Now, on the bottom, I have to, well, first of all, I probably, at some point in time, should correct these equations because they're both wrong. I'm checking to make sure this point is a solution to both of these equations. The point where they cross has to be a solution to both equations. And how do you check that? By putting your response into each equation. So, what's my solution? Well, my solution is 1, negative 1. That means that x is 1 and y is negative 1. And this is the point I'm going to check. I'm going to write both equations down. The first equation was y equals 3x minus 4. Where the y is, I am going to replace that with negative 1. And where the x is, I'm going to put positive 1 in parentheses because there's, a number there. So minus 4. 3 times negative 1 equals 3 times 1 is 3. Minus 4, negative 1 equals negative 1. And that checks. What does it mean to check? It means that the point 1, negative 1 is a solution to y equals 3x minus 4. There's a lot of solutions, but that's a solution. Now I'm going to try the same point in the other equation. Y equals negative 2x plus 1. And I have to make sure that it's a solution to this equation. So start with negative 1 equals negative 2 times positive 1 plus 1. Now negative 1 equals negative 2 plus 1, because anything times 1 is itself. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, so negative 1 equals negative 1. So the point 1, negative 1 is a solution to both equations. It's a solution to both equations, which means it's a solution to the system of equations. Okay, so now we're going to graph these. Again, I'm going to graph them in different colors because I think it makes it easier. Now, begin at the back. Where's my highlighter? Begin at the back with the b. b equals negative 3. So that's going to be the on there. Or begin at the back with the 2 on here. Since I have my highlighter in my hand, I'm just going to highlight all my y-intercepts on my whole page, because then I can put my highlighter away. All right. So I begin with negative 3, and to get more points, remember, y equals m for more points, plus b for the beginning. To get more points, 4 over 1. I'm going to begin at negative 3. I'm going to go up 4, 1 to the right. Up 4, 1 to the right. I'm even going to go down 4 and 1 to the left, so I have lots and lots and lots of points all the way across the entire grid. That is the point of this. You want to get across the entire grid. Now I'm going to write my equation, so I don't forget. Do it as I go along. Y equals 4x minus 3. And the other one, I'm going to start also at negative 3. So I begin at negative 3. And to get more points, I'm going to go down 1, 3 to the right. So this is down, and this is right. Down because negative 1 is negative, and 3 to the right because 3 is positive, so it goes to the right. So down 1, 3 to the right. Down 1, 3 to the right. Now I could go up 1, 3 to the left, because that would continue the pattern. And then I have a nice line, goes all the way across. Ugh. Why am I using a giant ruler? I don't know. It's not working out for me here. Here we go. Oh, I guess it's better than I thought. Now the point where they cross is 0, negative 3. So my solution is 0, negative 3, which is a number of solutions 1. So this point here is at 0, -3. What does that mean? It means x is 0, y is -3. Now, oh, I didn't label the second equation. See, I would have lost a point right there. Y equals -1/2 x minus 3. All right, do I have to check this? No, yay, my life is easier. All right, back onto this side. I'm beginning at positive 2, begin at 2, and now I have 6 over 2, which means 6 up, 2 to the right. Should have written the m there. M equals 6 over 2. mx plus b. Begin with the b at 2, then I'm going to go up 6 and 2 to the right. And I should go down 6 and 2 to the left to get more points. And there's my first line. It's all the way across. And write the equation by the line. Because you look at, I wrote my arrow upside down. What is wrong with me today? Silly goof. Here we go. Y equals 6 over 2x plus 2. Now, begin at the back at the b. b equals 2. To get more points, 3 over 1. 3 up, 1 to the right. So I start here, and I'm going to go up 3. Hey, wait a second. I'm still on the line. Up 3. Look at that. If I go down 3. Oh, look, I stay on the line the whole time. That means these lines are the same. Uh-oh. Now, how can I show that? Well, I could put another arrow on each side to show that I have one line on top of the other. Remember I said you could put the arrows in the middle to show that they're pointed at each other? However you want to do it, the number of solutions here is infinite. Infinite solutions. Because it's the same line. Coincidental. That's what the word is I was trying to think. The same line is called coincidence. Now, start here at -7. Way down here at -7. And then, so I'm going to begin at -7 to get more points. I have -2 over 1. But that means go down and to the right. I can't go down from -7. So I'm going to have to do the opposite. The opposite of down is up. The opposite of right is left. If you do the opposite and go up 2, 1 to the left, you'll see I still have a negative slope. So my line is still going down and to the right. I just have to go up and to the left to put my points on there. So down and arrows and write the equation y equals -2x minus 7. Now I have to do this one. This one begins at 1. And to get more points, I have 2 over 3. I'm going to go up 2, 3 to the right. So I begin at 1, up 2, 3 to the right, up 2, 3 to the right. And then when I draw my line, little magic, look at that. They cross right here at -3, -1. So, don't forget to write your equation. Y equals 3 over 2x plus 1. And here's where they cross at -3, -1. So my solution is -3, -1. Where do I put that? I'll put it on the bottom. Solution, -3, -1, which means x is -3, y is -1. So go back and I'm going to fill in x and y to check my answers. So y is -1. That equals -2 times -3 minus 7. Ugh, there's a lot going on there. You know how I feel when there's a lot going on. I feel like I really need to be looking at my calculator. So I'm just going to keep this side -1 equals, all of this goes in the calculator. -2 parentheses, -3 parentheses, -7. Oh, look, it works. It's -1. Ah, thank goodness. So that one worked. That's a solution to the equation, -3, -1. Now to do it over here. Ugh, -3 equals 2/3 times no, I already did this wrong. The y is -1. Oh my goodness gracious me, I should be fired. I can't even put the numbers in the right spot today. See what happens? Ugh. Wait, forgive yourself. It's okay to make mistakes as long as you catch them. So -1 equals 2/3 times -3 plus 1. Now nothing happens on that side. It stays -1. But this whole thing, oh, you know that's all going in a calculator. Here we go. Clear that up. And I have 2/3 times -3 plus 1. All right, my bet is it's -1. Yay, it is -1. -1 equals -1. It checks. This solution is a solution to both problems. Okay, let's keep going. Let's math the bejeebies out of this. Here we go. All right, Hannah and Cassie are reading a book. Hannah's on page 5 of the book, while Cassie hasn't begun to read. The equations at which they read are below. What this is really saying about Hannah is she reads 3 pages per minute plus the 5 pages she started with. Now Cassie, she hasn't done any pages. That's why there's no y-intercept for her. She's starting at 0, but she also reads 3 pages per minute. So let's graph Hannah, who has a y-intercept of 5, and Cassie, who has a y-intercept of 0. So I'm just going to write +0 here. And let's do Hannah in red. So she begins at 5, and her slope is 3 pages per 1 minute. Now Cassie begins at 0, and her slope is also 3 pages in 1 minute. So graphing this, I have to start with a red pen. Here we go. Starting at 5 pages, 3 pages, 1 minute. Up 3, 1 to the right. Up 3, 1 to the right. And that's going to be Hannah. Okay, Miss Hannah, up 3, 1 to the right. There you go. And I'm actually going to label it with her name, Hannah. And I'm also going to label it with the equation y equals 3x plus 5. Now, the next girl, Cassie, starts down here at 0, but she's also reading 3 pages in 1 minute. 3 pages in 1 minute. So up 3, 1 to the right, all the way across. And look at Cassie. And she has the same rate as Hannah, y equals 3x. But look at those lines. Those lines are parallel. And the question is, graph the system of equations and find the solution to see when they will be on the same page. They will never be on the same page because these lines are parallel. They will never be on the same page. The lines are parallel. All right. Now the next one says group work. But sadly, there's no groups if you're doing this at home by yourself. So let's just read through it. Today in Buffalo, New York, the temperature started at -7 and rose 3 degrees every hour. Today in Bayshore, New York, the temperature started at -4 and rose 3 degrees every hour. Let x represent the rate at which the temperature is increasing, and y represent and y is representing the temperature. So let's do Buffalo. And they started at -7 and rose 3 degrees every hour. You know that that's where the slope's going to be. So y equals 3 degrees every hour times the number of hours plus the -7 where they started. So this -7, please don't mess up, too slimy looking. There we go. So that's Buffalo. So I start all the way down at -7 for Buffalo, and I'm going to go up 3 degrees every hour. 3 degrees every hour. All day long, 3 degrees every hour. And there's my line. Now, I'm only going to put one arrow on this line. The reason for that is it's not a line, it's a ray. It specifically said start at -7 and go up into the right. So I'm going to label this Buffalo, which is y equals 3x plus -7. Now let's take a look at Bayshore. Bayshore is y equals 3 degrees every hour and -4. So we are going to start this one at -4 and then go up 3, 1 to the right. So that starts here at -4, up 3, 1 to the right, up 3, 1 to the right, all the way across. Oh, look at that. Also, it said to start at -4, so I'm not going to draw a full line. I'm only going to draw a ray because it told me where to start. And this is y equals 3x minus 4, which is Bayshore. Okay, graph the equation to determine when the temperature will be the same in Buffalo and Bayshore. The temperatures will never be the same. The lines are parallel. The temps will never be the same. Well, I should say the rays are parallel. Let's use the right word, but they are parallel. Ha, I cheated. So those are parallel. They'll never ever intersect, so they'll never be the same. Okay, and now your turn. Independent practice. Good luck. You've got this. Page 98 and 99.